Just kidding. I'm not going to cut it out because I think it's hilarious that I forgot what I was talking about. I remembered though, when I worked for Target, I was putting those towels away, which is what reminded me of it. One of the aisles that I had to zone was in D block. I feel like most Targets are set up the same. So if you go to D block, it should be your home area, which is going to have any storage. Well, some storage stuff is in C block, but some storage, your curtains, your sheets. That's pretty much it. Sheets, towels, curtains, curtain rods. Sometimes they have like kid containers for kids' rooms. And my towels were the favorite aisle because you can make towels so pretty, and they're all, if you've ever gone to a retail store, all the towels are stacked nice and neat, the same direction. It's so beautiful. That's my favorite. I love to go down a neatly zoned towel aisle. It gives me like peace deep down in my heart. Is that weird? Does that make me weird? I don't really care. I love it. It's my favorite. Yeah. I gotta make this bed. I'm not a bed maker. I'm like a throw the stuff on the bed, but I definitely didn't make it this morning and it's driving me nuts, especially since y'all all saw it in the back of my vids. Sorry. I'm a real life person, man. Like, I don't do things perfect. I don't do things the right way all the time. Just trying to be a real person. Trying to be transparent. Trying to let you guys know kind of what's coming. And here's the last thing that's coming. So I've talked a little bit about my DIY home renovation, remodel, successes and failures. The site that I now have to kind of go along with that, the ZabbyFitsHome.com site, where you can purchase home products and do your own DIY. And that also helps support me, which I appreciate in advance. Thank you. Very grateful. And then the next journey playlist, the journey that I will be on in the playlist that will also be added into my YouTube channel, is a very personal, transparent experience. I'm trying to mentally and emotionally and psychologically prepare myself for it, because I know it's going to make me emotional. So I apologize in advance. You'll probably see me cry. I've mentioned before that my bachelor's degree is in exercise phys. I've been an athlete probably my whole life. I played soccer. My mom put me in softball because I wanted to. I wanted to play softball. The problem with that and being an ADD kid is that they stuck me in the outfield. That's the worst place to put anybody who can't pay attention for long periods of time. And so that was not a good fit for me. Thankfully, we moved from a little small town called Watertown, Tennessee, to another town where I have lived since then. And if it's okay with you, I'm just not going to disclose that information. If you know me, great. I'm so glad that you know where I am. But if you don't, I don't need everybody knowing that mess. And my mom got me involved in soccer. I fell in love immediately. I love that game. I love that game so much. I played co-ed soccer starting in the 2nd grade. I played all the way up through high school. Played select soccer, played indoor soccer. And let me just tell you, that indoor soccer, man, is the bomb. It's the bomb to just like push somebody up against the wall while you're kicking the ball around their body. It's almost like a little bit of rugby, a little bit of not football, just a little bit extra aggression. And just a side note, girls are rough. Like, girls play rough in soccer. I watched boys soccer and they were all like nice to each other. Girls like take you out. Oh yeah, here's our new strategy. See that girl right there? She's a problem. Let's take her knees out. Just kick a little bit extra and just make her fall. Like, those are real conversations that I was involved in growing up playing soccer. Now that's illegal. You can't really do that, but that's how that went down. I'll say all that. I've always been an athlete, but I have never been skinny. I have never ever been skinny. And growing up, my grandma used to be like, she's just big boned. Like, I really hate that phrase. Like, I hate that phrase for me and every other female who's been told that they were big boned in their life. Like, I hate it. To the point where I used to want to punch people in their faces. I've never done that, but I've wanted to. The one time I almost punched a boy in his face, I was on school property, so instead I punched a cinder block wall and broke my 5th metacarpal on my left hand. I was in marching band. I was the first chair French horn / mellophone player and had a solo. And I told the doctor that he couldn't put me in a permanent cast for my hand because it was my senior year and I had the solo and I wasn't about to give it up to a freshman who was my second chair. So you can't see it clearly because it healed, but my bones healed. Let me put the phone down. Cracks me up still to this day. My bones healed like this in my hand right here. And he was like, I said, well, like, I could have that fixed later, right? Like, they could do surgery where they can just re-break it and screw it together. He's like, yeah, but would you really want to do that? I was like, well, I'm not missing this year. Like, no, it's fine. I know when it's cold because my hand's like, hey, remember that one time at band camp? I'm just kidding, it wasn't band camp. But needless to say, I didn't get suspended for hitting that boy. I ended up in a removable cast. I marched my senior year. Everything was great. It's healed. It's fine. Never been skinny. Big boned. Whatever. I gained muscle really easy. I'm actually what you would call a meso-endo. So it means that my body type is a mesomorph, which are people that tend to gain muscle easily. Your bodybuilders are mesomorphs. When they stop bodybuilding, they typically turn out to be meso-endos too, because the endo part is endomorphs. Endomorphs, I like to describe them as fluffy people, and you'll know exactly who I'm talking to or talking about. Their body type tends to be fluffy, like not a lot of muscle anywhere. They just naturally are fluffy people. It's almost like this, I don't know how else to say it. It's almost like they have a really difficult time gaining muscle. And I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying it's almost like their body frame itself has a hard time putting on muscle. It's easier for it to put on fat. So I'm a combination. And I know that because I took a test many years ago in one of my weight loss journeys. Because in my weight loss journey, is like a horrible roller coaster that goes up and down and sideways and upside down and to the windows, to the walls, to the none of the fat drops off my, I don't have balls, but, and it's been a very emotional journey. Very, very emotional journey because body image, right? I had kids who called me fat. I had boys who would not date me because they thought that I was fat. I could probably have kicked their ass, but yeah, I mean, I'm not ugly. I'm just not skinny. I'm talented. I was an all-state French horn player. Went to school on scholarship for the French horn and academics. It's not stupid. I mean, I think I have dementia setting in a little bit early because I can't remember where I put my keys. Every day it's a struggle, but maybe I shouldn't joke about that. But and I can't tell you how many times, oh, you have such a pretty face. Like, that's the second thing. Big boned and pretty face. I want to punch you in your face. Because how many other girls or women in this world have heard that? Chirp, chirp. I hope they feel the same because that is such a rude comment to say to somebody. Their value is more than their face or how their body is structured. Just going to put that out there. So that being said, the other journey that is fixing to come is my weight loss journey 995. I shouldn't number them because I'm sure it's more than that. I have, after that company that I applied for, I started having some really interesting health problems where I had very localized pain in my upper right hand quadrant of my abdominal region that would extend into the back, into my back, so like into my kidney area. I was having some issues with my bowels. Deck the halls with bowels, Holly. I was having some struggles with that. And my family, I'm adopted, so I don't have a family history, medical family history. But my current family, my family that's raised me and loved me, and I love them, they have some pretty serious health issues, like I ain't gonna lie. I'm hoping to get my dad on here one day to kind of talk about his journey, because he has an amazing journey, and as a kidney transplant survivor, we are into year 2. But, you know, my family has some pretty interesting health problems. And just, there's heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes type 2, cardiac, congestive heart failure is prevalent. Lots of people that have had cancer and died, lost battles to cancer. My sister's amazing. We don't get along at all. I ain't even gonna lie about that. We are like night and day. But she's still amazing. She's probably one of the best school nurses that I have ever known. She's really great with kids and great with taking care of people. She was the provider, healthcare provider and caretaker for both of our grandmothers. She has a patience for that type of thing that I can't say that I have. And she's good at just sitting at the hospital waiting. I'm not good at that either. But she, a couple years ago, also had, before mine started, had ended up in the hospital for 91 days with severe acute pancreatitis. And there's a lot of things that go into that. She also has gastric paresis, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of other things that I don't know about. But she almost died. It was really bad. And she has struggled every day, before and since then, with getting her diet right, with also her weight, because nutrition is very difficult when you have gastric paresis and some food allergies that go along with that. And again, I'm not going to even try to explain all of it because I don't know all of it. Like I said, we don't get along, so we don't talk much. We go to family dinners together. And I'm not a complainer, and not that I always want the easy way out, but I also am not about to subject myself to a bunch of testing for it to come back normal. And I used to joke with my doctor, I'm like, I'm gonna be the fattest fit person that there ever was, because all of my tests come back normal. Anybody else out there relate to that? And so at the time, I was like, what can I do? And it wasn't necessarily about losing weight, although in the back of my mind, always growing up, I had eating disorders in high school that my parents don't know about. Now they do. If they watch this, they do. But, so that's always in the back of my mind a little bit. It's hard because I've always struggled with the body image, but I found a place and support group on Facebook and a place in Mexico that would do a gastric sleeve for, it cost me $5,000 for the whole stay, surgery, all of it. The surgery, the stay in the hospital, the stay in a beach resort afterward. I was there for 3 days, it cost me $5,000. The surgery actually worked, took my symptoms away. I felt better for about 8 months. 8 months. And by better, I mean the symptoms that I had in my stomach and abdominal area, the pain that I was having, some of those other things. Was completely gone for about 8 months. Some of that is because I couldn't eat. I was on a liquid diet for a long time after that. And I haven't made this bed yet. I have one cover because I've been chatting. Let me just keep working here. I'm sorry. My symptoms went away for about 8 months. And the sad thing about that is it's twofold. Okay, I'm going to put this down. Sorry, you're just gonna have to work with me. So it's twofold, right? Because now I had the gastric sleeve. So as long as I was on liquids, I was fine. When I started adding food back in, the first thing that I noticed is that I threw it back up. And that's pretty common with gastric sleeve, and I think gastric bypass, but I didn't have a bypass, I had the sleeve, because it makes your stomach smaller. So whatever size the actual organ of a stomach is, mine is like this big now, literally. But I couldn't swallow food. Like, it would get stuck right here and I would throw up every time I ate. Especially any sort of meat product. Meat, the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst. Chicken, especially. Like, for the life of me, I could not eat chicken. Ground beef is a problem still. And so, you're supposed to eat smaller amounts of food, all of these things. Now I know the problem. This is the wrong way. So when I started incorporating foods, I had a problem keeping them down. Then once I was able to keep them down, and I say foods, it's like liquids, baby food. And when I mean baby food, I mean not like that store-bought stuff. You're just supposed to make your food into like the consistency of baby food so that you can eat it. Chicken, not so good that way. So I struggled with swallowing, and as the months went by and I was able to add some more foods or whatever, still sick. And then my pain came back. And along with the pain came weight gain, which I don't understand, right? Because my stomach isn't big. I can't eat a lot at one time, which is great because let me just tell you, when me and Roger go out to eat, we spend $9 because he orders food, I eat 5 bites, and that's it. I order water, he orders sweet tea. I can't drink and eat at the same time. That's also part of the process for the... So, right? I lost 40 pounds immediately and never ever went below 40 pounds. There was a girl there who had surgery the same day as me, and she went from like 310 pounds to like, I don't know what she is now, but she looks damn amazing. She looks so good. So that being said, about 8 months in, I'm having all these symptoms again. My stomach is hurting when I eat foods, or when I eat. I'm starting to have the pain in my upper right quadrant. That's bad, like sharp, bad, and lasts for hours. Food is still making me throw up. So when I do eat, I'm either going to be sick for hours or I'm going to throw it up. In addition to that, I struggled with bouts of, this is really gross and I apologize for this part, but I struggled with bouts of severe bloating. And it would either be I could go a week or more without pooping, or I would have diarrhea. One or the other. You can't go anywhere like that. There were times I was at work and I feel bad. I feel bad for my partner, but I was also thankful because I had really good partners at the time. But seriously, I'd be like, I'm going to the bathroom every 5 minutes. And it got to the point where all those tests that I didn't want to do in the first place, I had to do. So I went to a GI specialist in October of last year. Okay, so I had the surgery 2 years ago. It's almost been 2 years. In June of 2019. So past a year. And I finally just buckled down and went to a GI specialist. So I go to the GI specialist. First, she orders, and I knew she would, and I was thankful. She orders an upper and lower GI scope. We're going to scope it out. And we kind of just talked about esophagus issues, because that's part of the issue, right? Like, we're eating and you can't get it down. So it comes back up either because it won't stay down or because you have to make yourself vomit so that you don't feel like you're suffocating. That's a real thing. So they didn't find anything. She did stretch my esophagus, and that helped. That was in October. That helped for about 3 months. I didn't have any issues with throwing up for about 3 months. So October, November, December. So in January, that started again, where keeping foods down, still an issue. I still have problems with the pain. And so I went back for a follow-up, and she's like, well, let's order these tests. So she finally ordered a HIDA scan, which I hope I said that right. It's where they test your gallbladder, which is what I have thought was wrong the whole time. The damn test came back normal. Normal. Healthiest fat person ever, I'm telling you. So I'm like, okay. I went back for a follow-up. And I said, and also, let me just interject this, because every time, like, it is some about weight loss, but also, if I am not eating a lot of food, I will also interject this. Like, one reason my hair is like this, and I refuse to dye it, I have the best hair person ever. Shout out to Miss Stephanie at Vibe Studio. Ooh, I can't tell you where, because then you know where I'm at. She's the best. I love her. And I really do need to get my hair done because my roots are rough. Look at that mess. Can I help you? Yeah, do it. Go potty.
You know the filming is still on, right?
I know, because I'm talking. Stop it.
Oh.
Stop it. Go do your thing. Shut the door. Ain't nobody on here wants to see you potty.
Remember to edit some of this stuff out.
Transparent, honest, real life. So there's a reason that I haven't had my hair done. And it bothers me because I like it to be pretty. But I'm kind of monitoring my hair growth because I lost about half of my hair quantity volume during this whole process, which is also a normal side effect of the surgery. Hi, are you leaving?
Yeah.
Can I have a hug? I love you.
Okay, bye, mother.
Be safe, okay?
Alright, cool.
I lost half my hair volume.
It is Wednesday, my dude.
It is. No, it's not. It's Friday.
I tricked you.
You wanna come say hi?
It is Friday, my dudes.
It's my son.
I like your cut, G.
Isaac has grown 4 inches since last June. He's now taller than me.
I'm taller than almost everyone.
He's probably smarter than me.
Yes, I am. I am smarter than you.
He is kind.
Yes, I am. Goodbye. Goodbye. I got to go hang out with my cousin because we don't get to talk to each other because of stupid pandemic.
I love you.
Goodbye.
Bye. And women can be very vain about their hair. I used to not think that I was until I started losing it, and it stressed me out. Like, it was something that stressed me out. Like, I'm gonna lose my hair and be bald. And I got a big head. And if you feel your head, like, I don't know, I think I would have had to paint it or something. Losing hair, so I'm monitoring my hair growth right now. That's what I'm doing. That's why it looks like this. And honestly, I don't hate it. I love it. So I'm just letting it be. So I'm losing hair. Other things that I started to notice was scaly skin. So I knew I was malnourished, had malnutrition because there are signs. My legs were flaky. I've never had flaky legs in my life, but like from severe dry skin. My face was scaly, and right now I think that I have food allergies. It's maybe some of it because it's red like rosacea. Did I say that right? But I don't have that. I've never had that in my whole life. In addition to all the stomach things. So every time I'm going to the doctor and I'm telling her, and I think she might just think that I'm trying to diagnose myself, but I went to school and that's where it is. My pain is in my upper right quadrant. That's just where it's at. My stomach is pretty non-specific. And we talk about weight loss. I said I'm not eating enough. And eating junk is the only food that I can eat and keep down. Literally. Why is that? So I don't eat a lot, but if I can only eat junk because it's what doesn't make me sick, and I know what junk is, I'm educated, I know. if that's the only thing that's not making me sick to eat, there's a problem. Again, those are higher calorie foods, which could also, but I think all that she's hearing is the weight loss part. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be sick. Like the weight loss part, the weight gain part, like that is minuscule to pain. Who wants to live every day throwing up food? It's ruined my vocal cords. Not that I was ever a great singer, but it has ruined my vocal cords. And it does. That's scientific proven. Look that stuff up. I just feel bad. I feel sick all the time. So they called me to schedule this two more tests that she had prescribed to have done. One of them was a gastric emptying test, which my sister had done. And I was like, I don't necessarily feel like that's a problem unless it's contributing to bloating. But I couldn't see how that was related. I was trying to put 2 and 2 together there, and that didn't make sense for the problem. Because it's immediate. It's immediate pain when I eat. That lasts over a while. It came back normal. It's so beautiful. The tech actually said, you know, I've kind of done a lot of these. He's like, your stomach actually empties a little bit faster than most people, and some of that could be because it's smaller. They handed me to eat before this test 2 eggs scrambled with radioactive stuff in the eggs. I had to wear gloves. I had to wear gloves to eat eggs with radioactive material. And 2 pieces of toast that had peanut butter on them. And I looked at the guy and then a glass of water. Now, mind you, I eat 1 egg and I don't eat when I try not to drink and eat at the same time. I can't do both, or I can't do a lot of both. If I drink at the same time that I eat, I end up eating like half of what I can eat and drinking half, like 4 sips. That's it. That's all I can. That's it. That is it. I looked at the tech. I said, am I supposed to eat all this? He's like, yeah, you need to eat as much as you can. And I was like, you're joking, right? I was like, my stomach is like this big. I know that it don't look like it, but I had the gastric sleeve. It's not that big. And he was like, well, you need to eat at least all the eggs. And he timed me. It's a timed eating test. There's no part of my life where I ever wanted to sign up for any sort of eating contest that was timed or quantity, like none of that. I ended up getting like 3/4 of the eggs, and then I was like, do I have to drink the water too? You're like, you need to drink as much as you can. I got half of the water down. He basically told me that, and what they do is they monitor your food through your stomach. So they do an initial photo or imaging when you first eat, and then you come back in 30 minutes and they check it to see what percentage has gone through your stomach into your intestines. Then they bring you back in another 30 minutes, do the same thing, and then they check it every hour until your stomach is completely empty. Or I think it has to be over 92% empty before they'll release you for the test. I was supposed to be there for 4 hours, and it took less than 2. He was like, it empties kind of fast, but there's nothing abnormal about it. Normal. Frustrating. They called to schedule a second test. And here's where insurance or having insurance, or I find the healthcare system in general, is very frustrating, because they wanted to call and schedule the exam, and they were like, your insurance covers it, but there's a $1,000 facility fee. Why am I responsible for the facility fee? Why? Like, don't you rent? Isn't that what y'all are responsible for? Just saying. Just putting that out there. And I was like, I'd rather be sick than pay another damn hospital bill or bill for a test that's going to come back normal. I should say I'm about $4,000 into medical testing now. So I had a $5,000 surgery that made me feel great for 8 months. Now I feel like shit. and I'm another $4,000. I paid for the surgery, it's done, but $4,000 for testing to tell me that I'm perfectly normal. Now, sometimes when I go to the doctor, my normal physician, my T3 and T4 are a little bit abnormal. They put me on levothyroxine, which is a thyroid thing, and I'm pretty sure I have a thyroid issue. And then sometimes I can go back and it's completely normal within range. My A1C is perfect. My blood sugar is perfect. The only thing that I found on any medical, I read those things. I study those. Like, I have a test tomorrow. I study my blood work. Like, people who just look at their blood work and they're like, okay. I study my numbers, like all the weird numbers too. So I study the sodium and potassium numbers too, because those are responsible for muscle contraction. Muscles. Anyway, such a dork. I look at the sodium numbers and I look at the potassium numbers and I kind of see within range, because both of them should be within a very specific range of each other. I look at my T3, I look at my T4. There's nothing super abnormal. Like, even when they're high or low or out of the range that they're supposed to be, it's never by much, but it does fluctuate. It fluctuates enough that it's not normal, I think. And for any physician out there who might watch this in the future, I don't have a period. I've been on an IUD for forever. So my hormones might fluctuate just because of that, but also not enough to cause that much difference. My mom suggested Hashimoto's. And I did more research into it, and strangely, I have a lot of those symptoms. It is autoimmune, and so now I'm in the journey of trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. And I've kind of given up on regular medicine, no offense. So the journey is going to be a very transparent one, and I am going to video it. So you're going to find days where I'm not okay. I have partnered with a local trainer here in town that I used to work with at our local YMCA. She's been a social influencer for a long time. She is amazing, to be honest. She and her twin sister are both amazing trainers. She's had her first baby almost 2 years ago. So when I was thinking of someone, actually 2 people came to mind for this. I was trying to think of somebody that I could be super transparent with, because I know that I will be emotional when we start this. I'm emotional now. And sometimes I think it's easier to be emotional and transparent in front of people that you don't know, because then they can kind of calm you down. And not that they make you feel stupid, but you'd kind of tell yourself, this is stupid, you need to buck it up, buttercup. But that's not the journey that I wanted. I've worked with a lot of women in my field. Growing up, I'm in a completely different field now, completely different job, but I trained people for a long time. And I tended to work with people who were really overweight, because I am very empathetic to that and I want them to succeed. Or people who had injuries or physical restrictions that most trainers don't want to deal with. I won't say most trainers. A lot of trainers want really young girls, the hot ones, or the boys who want to be bulk. It's harder to work with older adults or people who have physical restrictions or handicaps. Those take really special. You have to have a little bit of, you have to be empathetic and compassionate and patient. But I tended to draw closer to those type of people. Those are the people that I tended to work with. So when I was trying to choose somebody that I wanted to help me on my journey, 2 people came to mind. One person was actually between 300 and 400 pounds a long time ago. He doesn't even look like the same person. And if you're in the town that I live in, I know you know who I'm talking about because he's famous. Amazing human being. Amazing human being. And he had a really interesting weight loss journey himself. He actually recently in the last year had skin removal surgery where he had lost so much weight that he went and had surgery removed to remove all the extra skin. He looks fantastic, but he is also a trainer and an amazing one at that. This girl that I have chosen has her own studio, and there's not really a reason I chose one over the other. I think maybe just the female thing, compassion. She's not going to be my trainer. She is going to be the person who does the metrics. Science without metrics is not science. If you've ever been involved in science or mathematics, you got to prove it. You got to have numbers. You gotta show your math. So that's where we are. I want her to do my measurements and monitor my weight because I don't want to. I don't want to step on a scale. I don't want to know because I don't want to be fixated on a number. My closet has always ranged from size, I think I might have a couple size 10s, but from size approximately 12, I think all the way up to 24. And I just know my own mental history where weight loss is concerned, and I don't want to know what the number on the scale is. And I'm going to be very upfront with her and tell her to keep it a secret. Just keep that to yourself, because what's going to happen, and she doesn't know this yet, we haven't had our little meeting to talk about this. She's just agreed to be on camera and to take my measurements. But what's going to happen is I'm going to request that she be on video taking my measurements and my weight. She's going to keep it in a safe place, and I'm going to let her video and document all the numbers. I will upload the video, but probably without watching it. Not gonna lie. So however it comes down, it may not even get an edit because I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to know. And that might sound like naive, but for the people watching this who've ever been in a situation where you've lost weight and then gotten really discouraged because of that stupid number on the scale, I know better. My bachelor's is in exercise physiology. I know better. Muscle does not weigh more than fat. A lot of people say that, but that's a really ignorant saying. I think it's silly. And here is kind of the explanation for that. Imagine you have a pound of balloons, and imagine that you have a pound of meat, pot roast. Can a pound be more than a pound? I mean, if you have lots of pounds, yes, but like a pound is a pound, right? It's just a pound. It's the same pound of balloons versus the same pound of roast beef. But one of them, I don't know how many balloons is in a pound, but it would be a fucking lot. It'd be a lot of balloons. That being said, a pound of roast beef don't take up that much space, right? Okay, so that's my education on fat versus muscle. Muscle does not weigh more than fat. It takes up less space than fat, because fat is fluffy. Fat has all of the toxins in it, and water, and vitamins. It's a hoarder. It's a hoarder. Your fat is hoarding. And you're born with X amount of fat cells, and they get larger and smaller, larger and smaller. Like once you have them, like you don't ever get rid of them. So you might get skinnier and smaller, but like if you start eating wrong or stop exercising or whatever you're doing to stay the way that you are, those fat cells have a party, an unchaperoned party. Which is where I'm at. Mine had an unchaperoned party. Now I gotta bring in the police. Get that shit put back together. Okay. Enough making fun. So I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I have so many clothes. So many clothes. I already told you the size range. And that's how I will know. That's how I will monitor my own progress. If I can fit into a smaller size, I will know we are making progress. Progress. But I don't want to know the numbers. I don't care about numbers. I'm 36. I don't care about that number. I should find a picture. I still look exactly the same as I did in high school. The exact same. Except this. This is my worry line right here. And I found that I have really expressive eyebrows by doing these videos. So that is the journey that we are about to embark upon. And I'm going to invite you guys. And I just want you to know in advance that if you don't have anything nice to say and you just really feel in your heart that you're not going to be able to continue with life unless you say that hateful thing, you can leave that comment. But I don't care. If you really want to encourage me, I'm going to encourage you to leave those comments. And if you've found any of the content to have value, to motivate you, to inspire you, if you relate to anything that I have said, to any of it, the money-making successes and failures, the weight loss journey, I don't even want to call it weight loss. Like, that's how much I don't like that. I am on a journey for my health. I want to feel better. I don't want to be sick anymore. I'm not gonna cry. You can tell when I'm about to because it like starts on my throat. Colby Calais sings that song that starts in your toes, and I'm like, oh, don't it start right here in your throat? I invite you on this journey with me. And if you have a similar situation, I invite you to start your own journey toward health and revitalization, refocusing your priorities. And that is really what it is, right? Priorities. I feel like this question is going to come up. I do not have any sort of diet plan that I'm going to follow as of yet. I haven't quite decided that. Honestly, I have been considering going back on the liquid diet like I did right after the surgery, and taking foods out completely. And before I get the hateful comments on that, I got a lot of blub. I could fast for a really long time on just water, and my body would not just eat itself like the protein. It would have some fat to get through before it started chomping on vital organs. When I say liquids, pre and post surgery, you're supposed to do a 2-week pre-diet of liquids only, which include clear drinks, and they make clear protein. They also make like protein drinks that you can drink. I have a bunch of Premier protein drinks that will probably be part of that. And then post-op, a lot of clear protein drinks and broth. Actually, broth is on both sides. So I have considered that, just going back to the basics and doing that for a couple weeks. I will be, I say working out, I will be going to the gym. And I have always been a cardio queen. I used to run distance. I used to run 13 miles, go to the gym, and do another 2 hours of weightlifting, which is why at one point I was in really good shape. And now I am a shape. I'm a pear. I don't want to do that anymore. My knees hurt. I have arthritis in both knees. My back hurts. My SI joint is hypermobile, and I have a knot above my right SI joint all the time. That's about the size of my fist, which if any of you have ever had the SI joint, is your sacroiliac joint. It's in your back. It's right at the base of your butt. You know those two cute little notches that some girls have and you can see? That's your sacrum. And then your hip bones are your iliacs. So that joint there, mine moves. It started doing it after I had children. And when it did it, it put me on the floor. On the floor. And I had to go to PT, struggled with that for a long time. But anyway, it's never been the same. I can strengthen it, and when I lose weight, it always feels better. Right now, it feels like absolute shit. Because all the muscles in my lower back and gluteus maximus, minimus, medius, all of them are inflamed. And so it also sits on top of the sacroiliac nerve, which also runs down to your leg. So as you can imagine, causes pain all the way down. So being sick and having pain, I want to be out of that party. I didn't want to be in that party in the first place. I'm going to be on the muscular program. I want to go back to, I know that I gain muscle easily, so that's probably what I'm going to focus on at first, is just gaining muscle, and adding cardio in later. Because muscle burns fat. It actually increases your metabolism longer after a workout than cardio. Cardio, only about an hour after you do it, are you still reaping the benefits of doing it. And the fact that it's just good for your cardiovascular system anyway. But muscle, because you're breaking it down and building it stronger, it actually increases your metabolism for a longer rate after. That's all the free advice you get about muscles today. Muscles. I don't use that part of my brain anymore. I was just thinking, that's kind of sad. I don't train anybody. I'm not in any specific groups that talk about that stuff. My job now, I have to read medical charts to sometimes determine whether an injury is work-related or not. But otherwise, that's it. I don't talk about that stuff anymore. It's kind of sad. I love that stuff my whole life. Sad. Anyway, join me. Be transparent with me. If you have something nice to say, say it. If you just really feel in your heart that you're not going to be able to go through another day without saying your hateful comment, like, Jesus still loves you. And I will support your hatefulness. Leave it. I don't care. You can't say anything to me that I haven't already said to myself. Let me put it that way. Or that somebody else has said to me. Yeah. So that's how I feel about that. And it's been a really long video to explain all of that, but I hope you like. Thanks for joining. If you found value, subscribe, share it with your friends. I appreciate it. And I hope that you have a blessed day.